So I'm going to give you a quick demo about building an Android app with images and sound. And I'll try to keep it as basic as possible. So what I'm going to try to do is build an app with a picture of Martin Luther King, and then when you click it, a speech gets played. Okay, so for the first thing, I've already got my project created in Android. Here it is, and let's go ahead and open that up. First thing I'm going to do is I've got a couple files here. I've got this JPEG file, and I'm going to stick that into my res subdirectory. You'll notice there's three different ones. One's for high density, low density, middle density, these drawable subdirectories. This is where you want to put your images. And you've got three subdirectories. You can use them to, if you want to have your app to run in different size screens. Okay, so right now I'm just going to put it in the MDPI directory. So it's pretty easy just to drag this guy in there, and now he's in. And if you look at it, where did he go? Did I stick it in the wrong one? Let me try that again. I lost my file here. Let's stick it right in there. There he is, king.jpg. Be very careful. These need to be lowercase names. You can't have an uppercase in here, or you can have digits, but no underscores or anything. And be careful, because you'll have some weird behavior that's kind of difficult to know what's going wrong. So anyway, I got that. I also need a sound file. Now, sound files, what you want to do is build a subdirectory of RES. So I'm going to create a new subfolder, and I'm going to call it raw. So you want to create a subfolder called raw, and there's raw, and he's within RES, and that's where I'm going to put my free last. And notice it's named incorrectly. I give it an uppercase. I want to avoid the problems I might have. And what I'll do is I'll say, let's refactor that guy and rename it, and I'm just going to give it a lowercase f, and then things will be much better for me. Okay, so now I've got that. So now let's go and actually build my UI. So in the resources subdirectory, I'll go to layout, main.xml. All I'm going to do is add a image button. So here's the image button icon. Drag that in. There's my button. It shows me the images I have to use. I'm going to use the Martin Luther King image, and there I go. Things are doing pretty well. Go ahead and save your UI XML file. I've got my picture, and now I just need to go to my Java code and kind of code it up so it knows to play my sound when that button gets clicked. So here's the code that's generated for me. I know I want to click that button and make something happen, so I'm going to say implements on click listener, which is the interface for kind of button clicks. Okay, and when I do that, it's going to tell me I have an error, and it's going to say, well, you know what, you need to import the directory, and make sure you import the view, the on-click listener from view from Android.view. Okay, so now I've got that, and then it gives me another error and says, you know what, well, now you must implement what's in that interface. Of course, the interface gives you responsibilities. In this case, when you implement on-click listener, you must provide an on-click function which will handle the click. Okay, so we're getting there. I'm going to need a handle or a variable, a Java object, which gives me a reference to the button. Okay, remember I have an image button, so I'm going to call this my MLK button, and I'm going to have to import the right file for image button. There that goes. And then in my onCreate method, I actually need to map the button to the interface object in the XML, and I'm going to cast this thing to an image button and use this nice function called find view by ID, and go to r.id button 1. So find view by ID just basically knows there's this image button called image button 1 or ID'd with image button 1 in my XML file. R is this nice class that maps resources and allows you to get Java objects that map to them. So now I've got this button I can do stuff with, this MLK button. And I've got it. The next thing I need to do is I need to make sure I register. What I want is my activity to handle the button clicks, but I need to tell the button to send me a message. So I'm going to say email button set on click listener, and I'm going to put this in. And what I'm saying is, anytime you get click button, send me this activity, the click. And in fact, I'll deal with it in this onClick method. Okay, so we're set up to handle the event. The next thing we need to do is deal with media. And there's a nice class called media player, which makes this pretty easy. And I'm going to grab one of those guys. I'm going to have to import something, and Android.media has it. And then what I want to do is create one, but you're not going to create it with new. What you're going to do is use a static method of the class media player. And that static method is called create. And you want the one with two parameters. And in fact, you're going to have to put a context in, and you're going to call get application context. Okay, and then for this ID, you're going to want to put in the sound file that we want to play. So here's where I'm going to say r.raw.freeAtLast, and that should do that. Okay, I think I've got an error. I think I'm calling the application context wrong. Let's see if this will do it for me. Yeah, I think that's better. Perfect. Get application context. I think I just was missing the parameters. Okay, so I've got a media player. I've got my button. When the button gets clicked, I'm registered to handle it. And what I'm going to do here is simply say media player dot start. It already has a file that it knows that it wants to play. So I'm all set up, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, we might have a quick and dirty app to run. I think my emulator is just now setting up. I'm going to pause this just for a second while so my emulator is back up, and I'm going to go ahead and test my MLK app, and here it comes. There's a nice picture of Martin Luther King. Click on it. I don't know if you can hear that, but pretty good speech. So anyway, that's a quick and dirty app to connect an image button to sound in Android. Thanks.